In the evening of June 10, 2025, Alabama carried out one of the most controversial executions of the year. 65-year-old Gregory Hunt was put to death by nitrogen hypoxia at Holman Correctional Facility in Atmore. This marked the sixth U.S. execution using pure nitrogen gas and Alabama's fifth, ushering in a chilling new phase in American capital punishment. Hunt's death came amid a wave of 4 executions scheduled across the country that week, with Florida, Oklahoma, and South Carolina conducting lethal injections. Tonight, we present a fact-driven, emotionally restrained recounting of Hunt's life. The horrific crime, the trial, decades on death row, the appeals, and the charged execution highlighting the ethical and procedural ramifications of nitrogen. Hypoxia. Born in 1960 in rural Walker County, Alabama, Gregory Hunt was raised in a fractured household. Though seldom mentioned in news reports, court filings reference paternal absence and emotional neglect. Hunt performed unevenly in school, dropped out by age 16, and drifted between temporary labor jobs. His early adulthood was marked by alcohol and prescription drug abuse. Arrests for minor thefts and disorderly behavior became regular. But beneath his volatile exterior, some found a reflective soul. By the late 1990s, Hunt converted to evangelical Christianity, led weekly Bible studies, and encouraged fellow inmates to seek redemption. Still, his troubled history offers no excuse for what unfurled in August 1988. On August 2, 1988, in the Cordova apartment shared by his girlfriend Karen Lane and her cousin, Hunt entered quietly before unleashing extreme violence. According to court documents, he forced his way in, bound Lane, and engaged in a brutal, intimate assault. Testimony revealed over 60 injuries, fractured ribs, head trauma, strangulation marks, each one a testament to a night of savage intent. A medical examiner confirmed Karen Lane died from blunt force trauma and strangulation, concluding it was a capital murder during sexual abuse and burglary. Emergency crews arrived to find Lane motionless in a pool of blood. Hunt escaped into the night. Investigators traced his steps via forensic clues and witness accounts. Neighbors heard screams, a bloody footprint, a fleeing silhouette. Arrested days later, Hunt gave a partial confession, admitting to the assault, but disputing rape allegations. Still, the prosecutor's office presented enough evidence to proceed with capital charges. In 1990, Hunt stood before a jury. Prosecutors meticulously described Lane's wounds and method of death. The jury recommended death by a narrow 11-1 vote, a margin acceptable under Alabama law at the time. Defense lawyers emphasized Hunt's impoverished upbringing, inconsistent legal representation, his court-appointed attorneys spent only 45 hours preparing, and his conversion in prison. But the weight of the crime overrode these considerations, and the judge imposed the death sentence. His appeals began swiftly. In 1991, Hunt challenged expert testimony on injuries and forensic evidence. He later attempted to contest his death sentence, citing Alabama's allowance of non-unanimous jury recommendations and potential constitutional violations. In May 2025 pro se, he refiled claims that the jury had been misled about the evidence of sexual assault, pointing to a hysterectomy that rendered some rape indicators impossible. Yet the Alabama Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court both denied relief, leaving Hunt without further legal recourse. At Holman Correctional Facility, Hunt earned a reputation for introspection. He welcomed mentorship roles, led worship, services, and authored letters expressing regret for Lane's death. Though he never fully accepted responsibility for the alleged sexual assault, a chapel volunteer recalled his final weeks as calm, almost serene, with Hunt thanking them for treating him like a human, not a number. As June 10th dawned, Hunt faced a choice. Alabama law permitted nitrogen hypoxia, lethal injection, or electrocution. He selected nitrogen hypoxia, a method many states view as more humane, though untested. He declined a special last meal, instead accepting the standard lunch tray: bologna, black-eyed peas, carrots, and fruit punch. At 5:55 p.m., Hunt was escorted into the gas chamber and fitted with a blue-rimmed mask over his face. After intake of nitrogen began, involuntary movements and gasping began almost immediately, consistent with previous nitrogen executions. At 5:57, he shook and moaned. At 5:59, he moved his feet. Witnesses saw him offer a thumbs up and then a peace sign. Silence fell by 6:05 p.m. when convulsions ceased. At 6:26 p.m., he was pronounced dead. In attendance were Lane's surviving relatives, Hunt's pastor, and a team of 5 media witnesses. Notably, Alabama restricts access severely. Lane's family released a brief statement. "This is not about forgiveness or closure. It's justice for Karen," they said. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall echoed these views. If Gregory Hunt had genuine innocence, he had more than 3 decades to show it. He didn't, Marshall said. If Gregory Hunt had genuine innocence, he had more than 3 decades to show it. He didn't, Marshall said. Nationally, Hunt's execution was the 3rd in Alabama for 2025 and the 18th nationwide, pacing to exceed last year's total of 25. While lethal injection remains dominant, nitrogen asphyxiation is spreading. Louisiana implemented it once in March 2025, and Arkansas recently legalized it. Yet as more states adopt nitrogen methods, medical experts and human rights groups raise concerns. Involuntary movements suggest a potentially painful death, contravening 8th Amendment protections. Gregory Hunt's execution marks a critical juncture, one where evolving technology meets enduring controversy. His death concludes more than 37 years of judicial limbo, but underscores broader questions. Can justice be served with unsettling means? Does time on death row, personal redemption, or changing execution methods alter our collective conscience? Tonight, Alabama renewed its role as a pioneer of nitrogen hypoxia, but at what cost? For Karen Lane's family, it's justice. For watchful observers, it's a moment that demands reflection on punishment, humanity, and how we wield both in the name of law